Borley Cottage, a dark and rambling, grim and secluded building situated at the top of a hill facing the church, was known far and wide from the 1920s onwards as the most haunted
Bovey
house
House
in
near
England.
Beer in East Devon is now a hotel.
1863.
It stands at the head of two valleys near Seaton, which run inland from the sea at Branscombe and Beer.
Bram's Hill
Once
House.
it was probably
A night in the
Elizabethan
most
manor
haunted house in Hampshire sounded good to me. It arose through my friendship
Brefferton
with
Manor.
Dorotha St. Hill
In
Bourne.
1985, I distributed to Ghost Club members a brief note that stated, "There is likely to be an opportunity of
Broomfield
spending
Manor.
a night at an allegedly
One
haunted
of the
manor
valued
near
members
Evesham in
of the
May."
exclusive Ghost Club is that explorer extraordinaire,
The Bull.
Colonel John Blashford
I have spent many
Snow.
nights at the delightful and haunted Bull Hotel, Long Melford, during visits to Borley, during
Chingle
film and
Hall.
broadcasting. At the height of
Tucked
alleged
away
poltergeist
at the end
activity.
of a Lancaster lane lies perhaps one of the best authenticated examples
Curry
of a
Mallet
haunted
Manor
house.
House. With evidence In from April
over
1988,
nearly half a
I wrote a personal note to Miss Dita Mallet, then in her 90s,
Eton
and asked
Vicarage.
about the possibility.
One
Of a
December
ghost club
day a few
all-night
years ago,
investigative
I
visit.
spotted two newspaper reports concerning a church and vicarage at Eton, Berkshire.
Farnham Castle.
The Daily Mirror stated,
After I published the first
congregation
comprehensive Gazetta of British Ghosts, the A to Z of British Ghosts, more than 20 years ago,
Glamis
a correspondent
Castle.
from Hove, Sussex.
It is a good many years ago now that I first visited Glamis Castle, but in common with many visitors,
Gosling
the
Hall.
first sight of Glamis
One
is
day in
unforgettable.
1990, I received an interesting letter from a Ghost Club member. It was a kind of letter I
Harlaxton
continually
Manor.
hoped for, but rarely
Never shall I
received.
forget the first
Kevin
time
Hall
I
and his
entered
wife.
the massive front door of Harlaxton Manor, and my wife and I found ourselves alone
Knoll
in a
Farm.
sombre, shadowy.
Some years ago,
echoing,
4 Ghost Club members carried out a 24-hour preliminary investigation at this Oxfordshire farmhouse,
Langenhoe
where varied
Church.
phenomena had
A
been
lonely
reported there.
and isolated church, standing like a cenotaph on its
Lovatel
mound,
Manor
overlooking
stands
the
within a
Essex
stone's
marshes,
throw of
and
the haunted
scene of
castle
virtually
ruins
the
of
whole
Bury
parish.
Pompery in Devon. A haven of peace, rest, and good
To
food.
walk along
the
the
manor was an
incomparable
ideal getaway
Mermaid
from it
Street,
all place.
rated by some as one of the 7 most famous streets in the world, and into the
Newark
corners
Park.
of the ancient Mermaid's
One
Inn.
of my
Now
investigators
one of the
headed the notes he passed to me on this case.
a
Nottingham
really
Council
haunted
House. One
And I
day I
think that
heard about a
about
young
sums
family
up
who had been driven out of their home, a council house, by the appearance of
the
a
old
ghost.
Battersea House.
My informant was a ghost
One
club
day,
member.
more than 30 years ago, I was talking to Ghost Club member Alistair
Prestonfield
Alfin
House.
McGregor in his Swan
Even
Court
the
church.
staid and justly famous Wardlock Guide states Edinburgh is a
The
city
Queen's
of
House.
ghosts and phantoms.
Visiting the Queen's House, Greenwich, one summer day while on holiday over from Canada, the Reverend R.W.
RAF
Hardy
Cosford
and his wife
Aerospace Museum. A haunted aircraft. Now that did sound different. And
The
if
Rookery.
reports warranted an investigation,
One day
I
during the
decided
spring of 1988, I read a snippet in a newspaper referring to psychic manifestation,
Rushbrook
including
Hall.
the sound of
At the time of the last war, during the course of service with the Suffolk Regiment, I was in hospital at Bury St Edmunds.
Sandwood Bay,
and from
Cape
there
Wrath,
went
on the
to nearby
northwestern tip
Rushbrook
of
Hall for
Scotland, is a strange and
convalescence.
isolated place, where one can still walk for a
Slaybrook
whole
Hall.
day among the rocky hills and
The
the great
successive
lumps of
families
stone
who have
surrounding
lived
Scotland.
at Slaybrook, a small hall house near Hythe, have
Woodfield.
always lived happily with the
When I
ghosts
learned
of
that a house in Bedfordshire was to be officially investigated to see whether or not it was haunted, because the owner was trying to get his rates reduced because of the haunted
Nights in Haunted Houses. Written by Peter Underwood. Narrated by Susan Greenway.